a 15-minute session for a client, so I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, thank you so much for exploring this session with me. I'm going to go ahead and read the goals here and get started. All right. You say hello. First off, I want to say I grew up watching you. I aspire to be like you. So much, I'll get to it. Thank you. That's way cool. All right, I would like a negative entity removal. This entity has shown itself. It looks like a dark mist. It gives nightmares every night, extremely disturbing, and often attacks my family with nightmares and bad luck. And once came for a friend who gave me advice on how I can get rid of it, but every time it comes back worse and attacks my family and friends, and one time a pan almost fell for my head. I can feel its presence often and it comes back continuously. So if it's not too much to ask, I'd like a negative entity removal. I love what bright energy you share despite an extreme experience you're going through. And you know, when it comes to a negative entity, we could just say negative energy. And negative energy is alive too, right? And it wants to keep its life force, and it wants to plague you with its chaos so that it has more to feed off of, right? So when your friend is giving advice on how you could get rid of it, that means inside of itself, the negativity, inside of itself. It's terrified of dying. It's terrified of transforming. It's terrified of not having its food, right? So it's like any human being who's, let's just say, drowning. It's terrifying. You want to have air to breathe, right? In order to survive, we need air to breathe. So in order for this negativity to survive, it needs to create more negativity. So I feel like calling it negative energy, but all right, we're going to take a look at this. I'm proud of you for creating an idea, like an image of what it looks like, a dark mist. That's really good. That's very perceptive. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm already in here. It's like, you can't move through it because as soon as you get to it, it's already kind of melting your skin off. And it really likes to take off these it doesn't want me to have any eyelids, and it shows me exposed eyeballs without any eyelids, and the eyes are kind of bulging, like they're going to pop right out of the head, and like skin melting. And I see a man who is basically being... some sort of paranormal event is going on here, and he's shaking and his eyeballs are starting to bulge out of his head and his skin's melting, and there's an energy experience he's dealing with on the inside that's absolutely terrifying. So I asked this energy, is that you? It seems confused by my question. And I see that it's sort of letting go of its grip of this man, and the man just kind of falls like a dead body. And it is like a massive black cloud. And I feel a lot of sand and deserty-like energy about it. I even see scenes of other countries where there would be a lot of dry climate. And it's not necessarily sand as packed dirt, or just dry land. Different cliff sides. I just keep walking towards it, and it's definitely something. It's not like I can reach my hand in to interpret its consciousness, which I'm trying to do here. It keeps backing away from me, and I can always just put it in a box, but there's got to be some level of interpretation of what this is. I say your negative energy that's creating more negative energy, and then that's your life force energy, right? So you're just negative energy. So what if you aren't negative energy though? This black cloud is showing me other scenes, and I don't watch the news. I'm not a geography major by any means, but I'm seeing uh, people dressed like in the Middle East, okay? And I see what is like a Middle Eastern leader. And I'm starting to notice this black cloud is really, really angry about some kind of unresolved feeling. And it's all about revenge. It's all about revenge. What's interesting is this black cloud, oddly enough, doesn't seem like it really relates to you or your family. It seems like it came from like a distant land and a distant time or experience. And I'm wondering, how in the world did it come to you? It it's actually telling me that you could take any part of the earth and it's all connected together. So whether it's at the Niagara Falls or in Peru, or it's literally everywhere. It's everywhere. But it does have a defined space about it. It's like you could look at the sky and see a cloud. It doesn't have to be a big cloud. It kind of is that size. It's not like a cloud that covers the whole planet. It actually appreciates the fact that somebody's talking to it. It's kind of scratching its head about this. And it's not really sure what to say. But it is seems to have some niceness to it, because it was wanting to help us understand how it could be anywhere, and it wasn't doing that as a fear factor. It just was very matter of fact about it. And the cloud's starting to turn into a man, and he's covered in these like moving black beads, like beetles or something. It's like all over his body are these moving black beetles everywhere, his foot to head, all front and back. He says something like, "You see me." And I say, "Yeah, I like seeing you more like this. Why were you showing that image with the man, the scary, why is it got to be like that?" He's kind of crying and falling to his knees and like praying. And I mean, it's praying to Allah and grateful, grateful, grateful that somebody would see him. I mean, I see Middle Eastern people with machine guns living in mountainous regions. Trying to remove the black beetle so I can actually see his what he looks like beneath the surface, but it's very hard to understand it, very hard to interpret. He's full of smoke inside his heart. I say, I'm going to throw an idea out here. You tell me if this feels about right. Let's say you had a lifetime as a human being, and you were captured and tortured and murdered in a really difficult way. And you weren't able to accept that, and so you just became this sort of energy of suffering because you wanted revenge. What do you think about that idea? He kind of had a weird voice, says, "I don't know what I am." Because he's not wanting to attribute himself to being a human being. So why did you attack their family and friends? Like, why did you do that? What are you trying to get help? I'm touching the beetles. I'm touching this. I'm just gonna place my hand in the heart of this, because it's still kind of skittish about what's going on here. But I show it that you were praying because you were grateful that somebody saw you. Let's stay with that, right? Because it's like, as I place my hand in the heart of this, it fills with a black sand and it gets very sick. And it gets so sick it's coughing and it feels like it's going to die. And it's scared. So I'm just neutralizing that. I'm going to send really positive images. Like Niagara Falls, right? That's a cool place. It's pretty. And Peru. Just a family garden. Maybe kids playing at a playground. Slowly but surely, these beetles are becoming more dust-like and kind of there's less happening here. It's a form underneath, and I don't know how to, it's kind of like a melted body where the arms are melted to the torso. Everything's kind of melted together. So it's not separate arms, are melted into this torso. So basically it's just like a body. It's just a melted body that has no limbs. They're all melted together. I show him he is receptive to positive energy, but he's not able to just shift yet, and I'm not going to box him up yet. But I really want to understand what his vulnerability is here, so I'm going to show him some disturbing images to see if he finds that appealing or not, okay? I'm going to show him like the worst of all scenarios. Like a little baby taken and arms amputated and legs, just because somebody thinks it's really beautiful, great thing, and it's just disgusting. What do you think about that? He's mortified by it. He's mortified by it. He says, "How dare you show me this?" And I say, I send love into his heart, and I remind him, I'm trying to understand you. You're hurting people. So I'm trying to understand if you like images that are very disturbing and painful to look at and represent something very disturbing in our human race. Is that something that you're attracted to? Because you're hurting people, you understand? So you're doing painful things to people. So you're telling me you don't like anything to do with hurting people, but what about the revenge? What about the gross image you showed me with the eyeballs popping out and the man with the melted face? What about the body that's melted together? Man, oh man. He's understanding why I showed him that image. And he's not, he actually thanks me for showing me that, because he needed, in a weird way, he needed to see that so he would have some means to interpret himself and what he is, because he seems to be confused. I'm pretty impressed by the density of the material that he represents. It's not like your classic soul. It's like a material. He's starting to look at more, he himself is starting to tap into more disturbing images about war and mangled bodies and amputated legs and bombs blowing up, and he's looking at even that, like, different types of wars with guns or with swords or fist fighting. He's looking at abuse in families. He's looking at every kind of suffering that is hurtful, not just physically. Now it's emotionally and mentally hurtful. He's really looking at all the layers of what this is. He's thinking, he's pulling himself in like he is an energetic river that has roots and branches that go across the whole planet. And there's black little, basically dust particles, but they kind of look like little miniature orbs. And he's pulling this into himself. And he's kind of just looking at me. And he's kind of perplexed still about what he is or who he is, but he's pulling all this dark energy back into himself, and he's been stretched across the whole earth. That would make sense why he feels like you could be in Niagara Falls and in Peru at the same time. It's not like he's a cloud across the whole planet, but he has like roots of his identity that are like streams of him that are everywhere. He's forming into more of a solidified figure, and he's a black, metallic, kind of sturdier like material, and it's a statue. Kind of makes me think of a black chess piece. He says that it's almost like he's having a hard time identifying himself because he's many identities. So what does that make him? I say, but you're not just this negativity. You yourself are not just negativity. I don't believe so, because you are receptive to prayer and love and leadership and genuine heart, kindness, goodness. So you are part of that too. He's now he's thinking about you, okay? And he's starting to kind of swirl some black but some white, and the white kind of represents the loving and the black kind of represents the negative energy, and he's swirling them both together, and he's looking into your eyes, and he's seeing your family and friends, and he's seeing himself in the mirror, and he's listening to the sound of your heartbeats. And he kind of says something like, I don't belong here. He wants to leave this planet, basically. I mean, he is a something. He's like an anomaly. He's not like a soul. He's a something. And so he's pulling in now, what is a yin-yang type, the dark and the light sides. And he's pulling himself together from all the many roots and rivers of his identity that's been stretched across the planet. And he pulls it into himself, and he's sort of like an anomaly that woke up, and he doesn't know what he is, but he feels a calling somewhere else in the universe. because there's somebody's talking to him way out there and is calling him to them so that they can guide him. And he very is much so a masculine type energy. He's a bit in awe, and he's quite beautiful as he comes into balance with himself. He's many different colors now, like, and there's like the orbs aren't tiny. There's large, very large, and then tiny, and so there's like different sizes. And he's turning into kind of just this energy of many different sort of orbs of light of different colors. And he's starting to recall that he has seen much pain and he's seen much beauty, but he doesn't. His purpose here, it isn't necessary. Doesn't relate to him anymore. Doesn't feel right. I got to do one more thing, which is help him to reach this location that's calling him, because I feel like there's an odd energy barrier. Okay, I'm actually containing him in an orb now, and it's very comfortable for him to be in this orb. And I'm basically sending the orb like a seed, like a dandelion seed, off into some kind of in space. There seems to be like a jet stream or some kind of energetic tide that is guiding and carrying him to that, what is a star, is the best way I could define it. He needs a long time. He still seems confused. However, he seems a lot more whole and more dynamically self-aware and balanced than did before. And he has a path and a direction now. I just don't see him fully removed from the earth yet. That's what I'm lingering here for. I'm going to allow angels to come support the remainder of this process and to fill you and your family and friends full of light and blessings for what you endured in order to help this entity. I mean, it's an anomaly, really. Yeah, I see a new beautiful feeling for you and your family and friends. All right. Thank you. Wow. One of a kind session here. Kind of disoriented from that. Thank you very much. I'm so glad you booked this session. And really touches me to hear what meaning my videos have shared with you in your life. Keep following your dreams. All right, thank you for sharing with others, and everyone watching, thank you so much for your kind comments, support of my clients, and I hope you all have a very wonderful rest of your day.